good?
Yep.
All right, today we're going to talk about lesson 2 in chapter 6, which is analyzing the factored form of a polynomial and writing a polynomial function by its zeros. Now, if you look at the part I have up here, this is something you've done before. If I gave you in factored form and I asked you to change it to standard form, you just FOIL these out and then stack it to get our answer. Now it's in standard form. The second way they're going to ask you is to take standard form to factored, and you just have to factor it so it's in quantity. Alright, but I want to move over to the boards, and I want to look at a different example. And I want to look at this one right here. Alright, so I want this in factored form. So the first thing you're going to do is take out a GCF, which is
3x.
Then, from here, we'll need to factor again. Now we have it in factored form. Now, once we have it in factored form, we could actually graph this. So if you had your graphing utility out, and you graph either the original or this one, and if you do that for me, please, this would tell me where it would cross the axis. In other words, if I set each of these three pieces equal to 0, and I solve for x, I know that here I'm going to cross at 4, at a -3/2, and at 0. Now, how the curve looks, how does it start low here? Let me see it. So that's basically what your curve is going to do. Now, these 3 points, we either call those zeros, because that's where y equals 0. We either call them the solutions. Sometimes they're called the roots, but basically they are the x-intercepts. If they ask you for these, you'll just tell me x equals, and those are the roots. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is relative minimums and maximums. If you look up the curve, do you have a point right here? I want to know what that point is. So on your calculator, you probably want to change the window so that you can see them. And then under calculate, it gives you the options. All right, just give me a minute and let me get my calculator up, and I'll show you how to do this. Because this is one of the things that you are going to be asked to do. Is you're going to have to find the ordered pair that is the maximum and the minimum. So you found it?
No, but I found the equation to graph a circle. I couldn't do it.
All right. So I've got to go get things cleaned out here. So in my case, I have 6x cubed minus 15x squared minus 36x. And I obviously have a bad window. that window. All right, so here is the graph. And if you notice, here are our 4 places where it crosses. If we hit the trace and we would type in a negative 1.5, wasn't it 1.5?
Yeah, mine gave it.
I bet you I typed the equation in wrong. Yep.
15.
It's 5x, or
Yeah.
it's
Now we hit the graph, and my window's not big enough, I'm sure. Hey, there we're at 1.5. Yeah, we've lost the bottom half.
15.
Well, I suppose I lost the top half. Yep, I lost the top half.
Gee, I'm negative 100 and then 50.
Yeah, for right now, I'm not gonna worry about it. I wanna find this ordered pair. So to find that ordered pair, I go second, calculate. Notice it talks about minimums and maximums, okay? So we wanna do the minimum, that's number 3. But you have to give it a left and right bound. So in my case, I'm gonna use the left bound as 0, and the right bound is 4. Because I know it's between those two roots, 0 and 4, and I'm gonna guess 2. Then, it gives it to me exactly. So when you are asked to give me the relative minimum here, I need an ordered pair. Oh, Lordy, I can't read that. Big one,
2.47,
and a negative 90,
yeah,
point something.
.018.
Yeah, that's good enough. So, you use your calculator to find the relative minimums and maximums. Okay? All right, so, you go back to here. We have changed it to factored form. Once it's in factored form, we set the factors equal to 0, and that gives us our roots. So you have standard form factor, set the zeros equal to 0, and solve. These points right here are your x-intercepts, your zeros, your roots and solutions. All right. This is your notes for right now, but I want to go on, because I want to get the video all done. Now, the second thing they're going to ask us to do is they're asking us to figure out what the equation is if you know the roots. So, give me a number.
14.
Austin?
9.
And Alex.
2.
Okay? So what I want to do now is I want to work so I end up back at this stage. So basically we're at this point and I want to go back up a line. Notice each of these I have set equal to 0. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to set each one of these so they're equal to 0. So again, all we're doing is we're going backwards. So I have the roots, now I have them equal to 0, now I have them equal to each other, multiplied together. And now, the last thing I have to do is I have to FOIL them out and stack it to find my answer. So if I FOIL these two, what's 14 times 9?
126.
Yep.
And then I have to take this, and I need to do the stack method. I think that's a square. And so here is my original equation from the roots that you gave me. Alright, so now I have written the roots. Alright, so if I go back over here, and again, I will leave these up later and we'll copy them down. So we did the same thing here. We had roots, we worked backwards to get them down. Now, the last thing I need to talk about is called multiplicity. What if we had the same root? If it happens more than once, which is fine. What we have to do is we have to tell whoever's doing it that we have a multiplicity. Now, it's a very simple process. If you look at the power here, that's 3. That means we'll have a multiplicity of 3. What this would mean, if I would write it out, if I have the quantity cubed, this is what it would mean. And doesn't the factor, the root 2 happens 3 times? So we would call it 2 with a multiplicity of 3. So if you look at this one down here, x minus 2 is the 4th power. The 4 here tells I am going to have a multiplicity of 4. I set the quantity equal to 0, and my root is 2. That way on this one, my root is a -5 with a multiplicity of 2. Questions? I'm done. You can turn it off.